$7:29. Yeah.
All right, if you all join me in the pledge of the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'm gonna establish a quorum. Dennis Brown.
Here.
Barry Gardner.
Here.
Shane.
Here.
Me. Here. Don Harmon.
Here.
Brooks Marsh.
Here.
Chris May.
Here.
Okay, and absent, we have Tiffany and Becker and Bill Hines are absent. So we have a quorum established.
All right, thank you. Welcome to the February POA meeting. If you happen to be watching on Zoom, please hold any questions until the open forum session. Raised hands will not be addressed until then. You will be given the same 2-minute limit as the residents in the audience. Thank you.
Okay, first, as far as the secretary's report, we have the January meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the open POA
So moved.
minutes?
All in favor? Oh, do we
Okay,
have a second?
wait, no, we have a
Second.
second. Don's second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Treasurer's report?
All right, income is up. We collected 2,180 out of the 2,265 lots, which is roughly about 98%. Payroll is pretty good this month. We are over budget in the golf maintenance and the fire department quite a bit, and golf operations too. Operating expenses are pretty good, except for golf maintenance, which has been way over budget, but he's doing a lot of good work on the golf course, which is the main reason. Also, we have on lots that we're putting back for the rec center. We have 88,000 put back so far from the sale of lots, and in capital improvements this week we purchased 2 seed evaders and a greens roller for golf maintenance. That'll come out of next year's budget though. And capital spending was $40,380. Any questions?
Thanks, Don. All right, before I begin the president's report, I'd like to address something that has been seemingly caused a lot of unneeded uproar in the community regarding boat tours for the timeshare guests. The timeshare guests are always asking for ways to get out on the lake during their stay. They have asked for boat rentals, kayak rentals, etc. An idea was brought to the board by Prestige Properties in which a resident who is also a timeshare employee would tour the guests around the lake. Talks with the board were ongoing. However, the individual has now decided not to proceed and withdrew the proposal. The association has been very lucky this year regarding inclement weather. We managed to dodge all the storms predicted on the news except the most recent snow and ice mix we received a few weeks ago. The only thing that one did was allow everyone to take great pictures for Christmas cards later this year. Like most homeowners, we are still struggling with the supply and demand of construction materials and labor due to the ongoing pandemic. As I'm sure most residents have noticed, the East Gate, Back Gate, Resident Lane has faced some challenges recently and has been down. Management is working with an outside company to repair the gate arm permanently, and appreciate the community's patience as they work through the labor and material delays. On a lighter note, the golf course is looking great, even with all the rain and cold weather we've had. Our hardworking golf maintenance crew continues to put in countless hours each day, tweaking and perfecting the course for all residents to enjoy. Excuse me. For most, this time of the year is slower, however, for the Fairfield Plantation Board and management. The gear up for the new fiscal year has been ongoing behind the scenes since the start of 2022, along with department managers and our budget and finance committee staff and the board have been preparing and reviewing the upcoming budget and will hold the presentation of the 2022-23 budget at the March POA open meeting to be held at the Rec Center on March 21st, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. The board hopes to see everyone there. As an association plans its upcoming fiscal year, please continue to watch out for any vandalism at Fairfield and call 911. Ms. Kennedy. Operations report.
My report's a little bit longer than normal this month, so please just bear with me. February is always a very busy month for the association as we're diligently preparing the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Most residents do not understand how big of an undertaking this is on staff, department managers, committee members, and the board. The budget process starts in November once we have a 6-month history of the current fiscal year and typically wraps up around mid-March. I start the process by scheduling a meeting with each department manager, and then we scrutinize and adjust each line item, cutting where we can and adding only where absolutely needed. Once are compared with needs, not just in capital expenses, but also on a line-by-line basis in each department operating budget. Once the preliminary budget is formed, it's reviewed by the Budget and Finance Committee. The committee reviews each department budget and each capital request and makes recommendations to the Board of Directors. Once the Budget and Finance reviews the budget moves to the board, and then the board reviews the recommendations and makes additional changes where necessary. Once all of this is complete, the board will vote the annual fiscal year budget into place at the March open POA meeting. Each year, this process seems to become more stressful on everyone involved, as the association is not immune to the inflation, hiring challenges, and rising costs that are plaguing the country. This includes everything from starting new employees at a higher rate just to compete with the market, to the asphalt mix that we use to fill potholes on the road, increasing by $4 a bucket. The board has a serious challenge and a duty to balance the needs of the community versus the desire to keep annual dues as low as possible. Fairfield's a very diverse community with varying income levels, and unfortunately, once the operating funds and realistic income has been entered, the only number that can be adjusted on the budget is the percentage of the assessment that's put into the reserve. We have several years of deferred maintenance to catch up on due to previously low percentages placed in the reserves to keep the assessments from going up. There is a solution that's been proposed, and it's the only solution to help stabilize the assessment. And that's the initiation fee that's in the proposed consolidated and amended declaration that's been out for a vote since June of last year. This is a fee that the association can only impose if it's in our governing documents and can only be changed by a vote of the community. Imposing this fee to purchasers buying into the community is the only way to raise funds that are not coming from the current residents. It's a very common fee charged by all the surrounding communities. If we had this additional revenue stream, we could easily decrease the amount that we are funding the capital reserve account in the budget. That's stabilizing the rise of the assessment. The board's working hard to make improvements in the association that the community would like to see. However, the funds are just not there. A perfect example is the rec center. This aging facility could be an epicenter of the community, but we simply cannot afford to renovate it due to the cost of our other pending large projects. In 2020, the board requested that I send out an RFP for ideas on a way to renovate the facility. We received several ideas ranging from a total demolition to a mixed renovation and addition. Estimated costs with the different configurations range from $430,000 to $470,000 and up. Unfortunately, it was determined that we simply cannot afford to renovate it with the other pending deferred projects, and the board ultimately decided to earmark the net profits from the lot sales, as we currently were not budgeting that income to offset any operating costs. And they started that beginning May of 2020. Had the initiation fee been in place since it was originally proposed in 2016, set at half, just using the set at half of the annual assessment, we would have approximately saved $1,187,525 to go to this project and many others. Just this current fiscal year from May 1st, 2021 to this month, 225 properties have changed hands. The association thus far has not been able to collect approximately $185,625, with 2 months more to go in the fiscal year. I urge everyone that has not voted to please submit your proposed consolidated and amended declaration ballot to the auditors. Wilson Lewis, if you have not already done so. If you have misplaced your ballot, please contact the POA office. Remember, this is your chance to improve Fairfield's financial future. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Heather. There's no old business, new business.
We've got the spa contract, a 1-year renewal. Do I have a motion to extend the spa contract 1 additional year at the same rates as outlined in the current contract?
I'd like to make a motion to extend the spa contract for 1 year at the same rate as in the existing contract.
And I'll second.
Okay.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next is the property control and parking and fencing rule change. This is something I just want to take a moment and just talk about a little bit. Back in August, we made a lot of changes to the rules, and at the time I said, we want to be fluid, we want to offer flexibility. If something's not working, we want to be able to change it. But there's a lot of reasons behind the why. Why are we changing the rules? Well, back in August, we made a lot of changes to offer more flexibilities in building materials, fence types. We wanted to recognize 2 additional fences that were more updated. So we're trying to kind of also update the rules as things change. Second, we take neighborhood feedback into consideration. And then some of the rules, the way they're written, they weren't as clear as they could be. They were hard to interpret. And they sometimes weren't the intent that the way it was written. So that's another reason we're trying to change some things. And then last, we always want to make sure we're trying to keep up the value and write rules that are not detracting from the value. So one of the rules that we're changing is the parking rule. This is something that was changed a few years ago. So basically what we're doing is we're putting it back to what it was a few years ago, but really focusing on the intent that was meant to happen. So the way it is written today, or the way it is written and was changed, had these different caveats. And these caveats were hard to interpret, hard to enforce, and didn't end up being the intent of what we were trying to do. It basically allowed for, if someone wanted to park the vehicle in the middle of their front yard, so many feet away from the driveway, that's what would happen. And it wasn't what I think we wanted to do. What we were trying to do is allow people to, if they had a boat trailer or a work utility trailer or flatbed or something, find a place to park it, because sometimes it doesn't fit on the driveway. So what the rule change is, and what we also did is we looked at what are other neighborhoods doing. We wanted to make sure we kind of also kept in mind, like, how are they enforcing this? Well, we checked around neighborhoods around here like Mirror Lake, Big Canoe, and everyone was parked in the driveway, everything's in the driveway on a parking pad. But at the same time, we're a recreational neighborhood, and we wanted to also allow for this flexibility. So, and that was the true intent of why we changed the rule a few years ago, is my understanding. So where we ended up is we're making one caveat, outside of parking on the driveway or approved parking pad, is that if you've got a unloaded boat trailer or other type trailer, as long as it's not visible from the road or behind some type of screening. And the screening can be like bushes or some type of vegetation. So that's what we're trying to be flexible. We're trying to enforce something back to the original intent and why it was changed a few years ago. So I know it's a little long-winded, but I felt I wanted to set it up a little bit. And the second thing is around fencing. So we've gotten a lot of feedback from the neighborhood as people are staying home more, people are getting more dogs, people are spending more time at home. They've been asking for a little bit higher fence. So for interior lots, instead of what it is right now, 4 feet, we're gonna have up to 6 feet. So that's an interior fence. That's not on the lake. That's not on the golf course. But if someone would like to request a fence up to 6 feet, we are not changing the fence style. So we already expanded that back in August. So we're trying to keep consistent and have a similar look and feel. So we're just allowing a little bit taller fence on the interior lots. So that's my long-winded background on why we're making these changes.
And there is copies of the new change in the rules in the back.
So with my long-winded story, do we have a motion to approve the parking and fencing changes?
I'd move that we would adjust our fencing and parking rules
Okay,
per the attachment in this previous discussion.
okay, do you have a second?
I'll make a second.
Okay.
We have a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. All right, the next one we got is the Eagle Stop project. If Joseph Palermo would like to come up here and read his letter.
Dear Board of Directors, I would like to request permission and approval of my Eagle Scout project. My goal for my Eagle Scout project is to construct a ceremonial flag is to burn. There are so many organizations in our community that will benefit by having a place to retire their flag. The ceremonial fire pit would be for flags only. There will be a flag with a description that we honor this duty. There will also be a bare flagpole that will never fly. Flag to symbolize what our flag represents. There will be without it. Chief Leon Bruce and the Field Plantation Fire Department are supportive of this project. I'd like to complete my project by Memorial Day, May 30th, 2022. I appreciate the opportunity to be of service in my community, and I am thankful for your review and consideration of my project.
Thank you, Joseph.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Can I make a comment?
You sure can.
Joseph, this is an honorable thing that you do. We appreciate it very much. It's something that I felt was really needed in our community, and with Pounders, I appreciate what you're doing for us.
I make a motion, we accept his proposal.
I'll second it.
All right.
We have a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next up, we've got the aqueduct contract renewal. And looking for a motion to approve the new lake maintenance contract with aqueduct.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Shane, a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Just one.
All
That's all right.
right. Okay, you sign on.
Lot management.
So we've got attached, we've got a lot of lot sales. Allison and the whole POA office and committee have been really busy. So we're gonna make a motion for the entire list. So do I have a motion to approve the sale of the attached list? There's 36 POA owned lots.
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody want to talk about? Oh,
I always have something to say. Of course, you know, I'm on document management committee and I'm not as tactful as Allison. Folks, we have given up the opportunity to have $1 million. That's free money. Money that comes not from your pocket, not from the assessments, but from folks that would have moved into Fairfield, had this initiation fee been in effect at that time. $1 million. That $1 million could be used for projects. It could be put into the reserves. It could have if it's in the reserves, the money from our budget that we annually put into reserve could have been maybe lessened, which would then give us more operating funds, which would put us in a situation where we could probably support rises due to inflation and other costs without impacting the assessment. It might have been a way to stabilize the assessment. Beats me while we sit here and let $1 million fly away, but we have. Those of you, if you have not voted, please vote. If you don't have a ballot, we've got them at the POA office, you can select it. Please vote so we get at least a quorum, so we've got a legitimate vote in here. We haven't even reached a quorum yet. I had my apathy sign 2 months ago. My apathy sign now has apathy. I mean, nothing is going on. We need to get this thing to a head. We need to vote. Of course, I'm biased. I'd like you to vote yes. I mean, just take advantage of what's out there. People want to move into Fairfield. If they want to move into Fairfield, they need to put some skin in the game and pay for some of the amenities that you guys have already paid for. And then it gives us some capital to do other things with. The only other revenue source is assessment. So if we want to do things around here, we've got to have an alternate source. Alternate source is the initiation fee, which is in the revised DOR. Please vote. Thank you.
anybody else has anything? Okay. All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We'll go to that open forum. Anybody out there have any questions?
I was the only one.
Even though my name is on there, I would like to see Barry Gardner's statement put in the Fairfield Press. Because people who don't come to these meetings, they don't know. And they need to know. Also, how do we know when we mail in our ballot that it has been received?
I can answer that one.
Yeah, but it
Yeah,
goes to
you can
independent
actually
auditor.
call Wilson Lewis, and we can get you the phone number for that, and they can tell you whether
Okay,
they received.
okay.
They sent us a list of received ballots, probably, I guess it was about 2 months ago, and we just checked whether it was received or if they haven't. They have a list
Okay.
of eligible voters,
Okay,
but they haven't sent me an updated one, so I can request that tomorrow, and then
Right.
staff can tell you whether they've received it.
have y'all thought about sending those people an email who has not voted? I know it's a big task,
Yeah,
but
we
this is
actually
a big
have.
task that's been working on a long time and been extended, and it's like, we need this.
We
And they
actually
need to
have.
know we need it.
And document management people, my large committee of 4, have actually gone around and talked to their neighbors that have not voted, saying, guys, we need to get this thing in. And I know somebody in the Plantation Press, so I can definitely get it in the
That would be
Plantation.
wonderful.
Yeah. Since I'm the editor.
I hope everybody reads it.
We can handle it. Okay. Thank you.
Bill Knight?
I always put my name on there just in case something comes up. all the time.
Okay.
And I do want to talk about the show effort. And are any of the board members in marketing?
I think I want to be, but I'm not.
There's gotta be a way that through some marketing effort or something to encourage these people to, and I've talked to Allison, I've talked to Barry, that was suggesting that at one time there was that was gonna go forward, that's what I was thinking of, but, and I sit here each month and listen to your well-founded appeals and reports about why we need it. But it just doesn't seem to me that these people still have a ballot laying on the kitchen counter. And somebody needs to contact them and find out if they or send them a new ballot.
Yeah, send them a new ballot.
So sort out who, and I've offered to go through the stickers and pull the stickers off the mailing list. But contact who hasn't voted with a direct approach, a direct marketing approach, a direct appeal. Saying you got to do it one way or another. Please vote.
And that you're hurting the whole community when they don't.
Right.
Sure. You know, we've tried everything, and Bill knows quite a bit of it. We did town hall meetings. I did a video, and two and a half years ago, when we first started 2.5, and did a video many times going over it, since I'm not very good at this. Anyway, we did a video, we had that out there. We've tried an awful lot. We have not done this direct mailing approach, and I think it's probably the last ditch effort to go ahead and do it. So it's a good suggestion. Thank you.
With highlighted, it has to be in by a certain date. You know, we can't just be extended and extended. It's got to be cut off at a certain date.
When it warms up, I'll go pick them up.
Yeah. Press gang comes to mind. You know, the two big guys driving around in a black car. Yeah.
Just stickers and.
I would like to see reflectors in the middle of the road. If we pave more roads, put the reflectors, because it is so hard to see in the rain. Just the lines in the middle of the road. And that was my request.
Well, I've talked with Jim Stevenson about that,
Mhm.
and one of the problems that we run into is, which we haven't run into since 2017, is ice on the road. That when they have to go, if we have snow and ice on the road, they go through and they clean the road, and of course they dig up the reflectors. But I brought it to his attention that at least in a lot of our curve areas, that we could put them in the curve areas, probably starting 200 feet before the curve, 200 feet after the curve, right there, because we've got, of course, we're a curvy residential area, but there's I've talked to him about that, and he liked that idea. So at least on that part, we can probably push forward on that and see if we can get something done on that.
Wonderful.
Do we have anybody? No. Okay.
I'd like to say something. We're new to the neighborhood, and
Yeah, welcome.
we like the neighborhood. I've met several people, and the one thing I'm shocked about is the lack of buy-in. We talk about people voting, but I've heard a lot of the pronouns of they and we live here, a lot of they pronouns, they this, they that. And so it seems as a person new to the community who has met a lot of people within the community, there's no buy-in. So, I mean, I would personally feel like you can send out letters, all emails, all whatever you want to, until we as a community figure out how to get people to buy in, and you're not gonna get a vote.
Exactly.
You know, we're just not.
Very good point.
If you got suggestions on how to get that, I'm open to any of them, you know. It's
Well, as a school teacher, we're always trying to figure out how to get buy-in.
bingo. Yeah, exactly right. Okay.
And it's usually built around food.
Anybody else? All right, well, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. See you next month.